Hello and welcome to Watch Maxie's Watch Videos. My name is Axel and I'm glad to have you on the show. A couple of weeks ago I did a video about the Steinhart Ocean 39 500 GMT Premium Ceramic or something like that, and I really enjoyed the watch so much that I had to buy it, and here it is. I bought it, it's on my wrist, and like with any new watch, I do a 1 week on the wrist video. During the video you will notice that in the middle of the week I had a haircut, so the takes I did are not 100% chronological. This one I do right now, I do in the middle of the week. Usually I do it at the first part of the whole video to have all parts in a chronological order, but the initial part was crap, the tone was crap, so I had to redo it. It's day one, it's Wednesday, day one of my 1 week on the wrist. The Steinhart Ocean 39 GMT Premium 500 Ceramic, or whatever the name is, arrived today. It's already on my wrist and I'm totally curious how it's going to be 1 week with that watch on my wrist. As you can see, I have the black caoutchouc strap attached to the watch, the steel bracelet I've adjusted to the right length, but I wanted to try and see how long I can stand with the caoutchouc or rubber strap. I'm not a big fan of rubber straps, so this is part of my 1 week test. Let's see where it leads to. Over the week I'm going to show you a couple of things which I've already noticed and things which may be added to that during the week. I'm totally curious. What I already can say, it's a gorgeous watch, a great watch, comfortable on the wrist. The hands are set correctly, so all fine from my side as far as I can say after 2.5 hours. It's Wednesday night, day one of my 1 week on the wrist. We have 11:15 and the Steinhart is still on the wrist. What I already noticed after about half a day, how many differences and how many impressions you get when you really have the watch on your wrist rather than having it for a review of an hour or two without really wearing the watch. It makes such a big difference. So I noticed as number one that the Steinhart wears smaller than 39mm in daylight conditions and appears to be bigger during the night. I'm going to show you that in detail and why I think it is the way I anticipated over the week. The second point I mentioned is that I probably can stand with a rubber strap for a couple of days, but probably not the full week. And the third item I noticed is that the Ocean 500 Premium GMT Ceramic has rather broad hands, and that really distinguishes the watch and the hands from all the other watches from the Ocean series. It's Thursday morning, day 2 of my 1 week on the wrist, 7 o'clock, and the Steinhart GMT is still on the wrist. It was on the wrist the whole night, and surprisingly the rubber strap was relatively uncomfortable. During the day yesterday it was okayish for me, but overnight it was not very comfortable. I can't tell you exactly what it was, so I have to have a look at it over the next couple of days. But overnight it didn't feel so well as it felt overday. Another point which might be interesting for you, yesterday a puppet circus arrived, and maybe my wife and I will have some time to go there, watch the show and enjoy something new. Another point I would like to mention, my wife does not like two-tone bezels, neither Coke, neither Pepsi, neither Batman, none of them. And I like all of them, so this is one of the really rare points where my wife and I have a different opinion about taste and style. It's Thursday, day 2 of my 1 week on the wrist. The Steinhart Ocean 39 GMT is still on my wrist. It's a gorgeous watch, I really love it, and I was absolutely surprised that I did not sweat too much under the rubber strap. We have it extremely hot. We have at 11 in the night around 28 degrees in my flat. And despite these high temperature, the rubber strap was relatively comfortable, and tomorrow or the day after, I'm going to show you the reason I suppose is behind that fact. Yesterday I talked about the anticipated size of the watch, and today I took some footage, which is my view. I'm here on my balcony, and that's the Ocean 39. As you can see, the sapphire crystal has a beveled edge, which is really an eye catcher and is a gorgeous feature. However, in my anticipation, it makes the sapphire from the front view a little bit smaller and narrows down the dial a little bit. From the wide angle objective, you can see the watch is a 39mm watch with the longer horns, but the overall appearance of the dial seems to be a little bit smaller than the overall watch is. And this is particularly caused by the wide bezel, the beveled edge, and the Rio, which is also a little bit beveled and narrows down to the center of the dial. These 3 points lead to a situation where I think the overall dial narrows down a little bit to the center, while the bezel is completely covered with luminous color. And overnight, not only the dial but also the bezel is really bright, and it appears to be much bigger than I am used to with a 39mm watch. This is my view. This is why I think the watch is smaller over day, bigger overnight. Over the next couple of days, I'm going to show you why I think the rubber strap is good for warmer days and I don't sweat too much. And that's going to be the day where I change the rubber strap to the steel bracelet, which I think is the even more comfortable solution in these hot summer days. We have Friday morning. It's about 7 in the morning, and my Steinhart GMT Ocean 39 Premium Ceramic is still on my wrist. It's really a gorgeous watch. I love it. It's really good readable at night, which is quite important for me. However, the rubber strap, particularly at night, I don't like too much. And I will show you right now why this is the case. Over the day I'm going to change to the steel bracelet and see if the watch changes to a status which I do like even more than I already do it with the steel bracelet. This is the Steinhart 39 GMT with the rubber strap, and it's a thick and very robust rubber. And what I noticed is the edges are not rounded, they are pretty well defined, and when you push on them you really feel the edge. So this is different from, for example, the silicone strap of Zins, which is much softer than the rubber strap of Steinhart. But that's not the main reason why I don't like it too much at night. The main reason is the butterfly clasp. The rubber strap is quite rigid and solid, so the watch doesn't move around much on the wrist. It never slips over the wrist. With that, the clasp remains over the same part of the skin, and this is something I found not very comfortable, and that's the main reason why I am going to change from the rubber strap, from the caoutchouc strap, to the steel bracelet, which has a wider inner folding mechanism. It's not as thin as this one. The really good side of this rubber strap is the structure on the inner side, which provides quite a lot of air circulation, so you don't sweat very much under that strap. That's pretty good, I think. It's Friday night. We have about 5 to we have about 11:25, that's the correct time. And as you could see, I changed to the steel bracelet since I feel it more comfortable in these extremely hot conditions. Still on the wrist, the Steinhart, and it's a great watch. However, there is one thing I would like to share with you, which I noticed over the day, and that is it is a GMT watch. And if you have a look at the picture, it's not so easy to identify the GMT hand. It's a decent hand, not very obvious, which is pretty fine in most cases, but when the minute hand moves over the GMT hand, it is nearly invisible, and this is something which I don't like too much. While the fast forward runs, you can see that the GMT hand appears on the other side. If I really need a second time zone and want to use it, I want to read it in any situation, and when the minute hand passes the GMT hand, it is nearly invisible. I would have preferred a different color, maybe a more broad arrow or something like that, to make it more visible when the minute hand passes the GMT hand. Maybe it's not much, but something I wanted to share with you. We have Saturday morning, day 4 of my 1 week on the wrist. My Steinhart Ocean 39 GMT 500 premium ceramic, whatever it is still on the wrist. I can't remember all the elements in the correct order. Steinhart, if you listen to that, simplify the names of your watches. No one really can remember that in the correct order. It's a nightmare. If you could see, I changed from the rubber strap to the steel bracelet, and the steel bracelet is much more comfortable overnight compared to the rubber strap. The rubber strap is the sportier version, but the steel bracelet is by far the more comfortable one. As you can see, we have really summer. We have 10 minutes to 9. It's already pretty hot. I'm sweating. It's getting hotter over the day, and with that, the steel bracelet is really, really a good choice. That's one thing I wanted to show you, and some call it too much ladylike. I personally do like it a lot, and that's the fact that the bracelet starts with a width of 20 millimeter at the lug, and then it tapers down to 16 on the clasp. Absolutely comfortable, and particularly during the hot days, I really do appreciate that. It's the night between Saturday and Sunday. My Steinhart is still on the wrist. We had a really, really nice birthday fest and with friends of ours. The temperature was extremely warm and hot, and even walking the dog was really hard. We had to go out in the hottest time of the day, but the dog needed to go out, so it was very, very short, and we didn't spend much time outside. With this temperature and this period of the year, the steel bracelet is by far the best choice. Okay, one thing I would like to share: sometimes my dog really listens to me. Thank you very much for watching. Tomorrow I'll come back, but I try to sleep a little bit longer tomorrow. It's Sunday, day 5 of my 1 week on the wrist, and the Steinhart Ocean 39 GMT Premium Ceramic is still on my wrist. Initially I wanted to sleep a little bit longer this morning. It worked perfectly well. I woke up at 6:30 in the morning, and I thought there is no better time for a longer dog walk in the woods than the early morning hours before it's getting hotter. So I've been walking the dog in the woods since 6:30. So no way sleeping longer. Now I'm going to make me a coffee and kick off the day as usual. The Steinhart is pretty comfortable on the wrist, even during the hotter days when you sweat on your wrist. The tapered down bracelet is really comfortable, and I do look forward to the coming days. It's Sunday, day 5 of my 1 week on the wrist. The Steinhart is still on the wrist, as I already showed to you. Today I had a focus on two different things. One is the bezel and the other is play around with straps. Let's have a look at the bezel first. To be honest, for a GMT watch I wouldn't need a turning bezel at all, because with the 24 hours indicator I need to have midnight at the 12 o'clock position. Anything else would totally confuse me. So it is a turning bezel, which I probably will never use, and it is hard to turn, and this is partially because of it's really fixed and stiff. And the other hand, the edges of the bezel are quite soft. You don't have too much grip, and that's the point to mention. Playing around with straps. I already showed to you the Steinhart caoutchouc and the steel bracelet. Here we've got a Hirsch caoutchouc tapering from 20 to 16 millimeter, and I think this is much more comfortable than the Steinhart caoutchouc because it's softer, and I think this could be a real valid option. Another strap is a Ulite waterproof leather strap with a silicone layer inside. The brown strap on the black and blue diver, you probably can do it, but I don't think it fits perfectly. So it's not a crappy thing, but it's clearly not my preferred choice. Here we have a vintage leather strap with the white stitching, and to be honest, for me that's a no-go. I don't think it fits at all, so I would never ever use this combination. The last option I would like to show to you is a strap which you usually get when you have the locker key when you go to a swimming pool or something like that. It's a Ulite Palon strap, and that's pretty nice for the summer. It's thin. It allows the strap to breathe. It lets the air circulate. It dries fast, and it kind of fits to the watch. However, I have to say this watch is not as versatile as other watches which I have. So the a black silicone or rubber strap, a black canvas maybe, or the steel bracelet, and you're perfectly fine. You don't have to play around a lot. So it's calming me down when it comes to strap changes. And that was what I wanted to show you today. It's Monday morning, day 6 of my 1 week on the wrist. My Steinhart Ocean GMT 39 Premium Ceramic is still on my wrist. It's close to 7:30. A watch which really convinced me. It's comfortable on the wrist. I'm a little bit disappointed that I can't play around with straps as much as I intended to do, but I think it's going to be a watch which will get its wrist time and which will stay in my collection. It's Monday, day 6 of my 1 week on the wrist. The Steinhart Ocean 39 Premium 500 Ceramic is still on my wrist. It's a great watch, a comfortable watch. The 39mm is absolutely my size, and with that size, the shape and form of the case does not disturb me, does not annoy me that much as it does with the 42mm version. You can see the steel bracelet is the strap or bracelet of my choice. It's a really nice watch, and I look forward and I'm curious to see how much wrist time this watch is going to get. On Wednesday it could be that I start another very interesting video. I don't want to say too much because it's not 100% sure, but I really look forward to Wednesday, and maybe I can surprise you with an extremely interesting watch, and that if it goes well would be one of my absolutely favorite dream watches. Okay, let's see how it goes. It's day 7, my last week of 1 week on the wrist. The Steinhart Ocean 39 Premium GMT 500 ceramic is still on my wrist, and it is a great watch. It is a comfortable watch. I like it. It's going to be a keeper in my collection. I think it will remain on the steel bracelet, maybe now and then on a canvas strap, but I'm not going to play around much with strap changes. I feel it doesn't suit the watch too well, so I think this is a very stable watch when it comes to strap changes. One point I would like to address towards the end of the video, and this is a statement I've heard repeatedly, that Steinhart produces just copies and fakes to Rolex watches. With that particular watch I have presented in this video, I don't think this watch is too close to the Rolex Batman. It has many points where it is quite different to the Rolex, and I would like to address this particular topic right now. Here is the Ocean 39, and the first thing you notice is the date at the 6 o'clock position. Rolex typically has the date on the 3 o'clock position with the Cyclops. Here it is without a Cyclops on the 6 o'clock position, so a big difference. The hands are different compared to the Rolex, and there is no Mercedes hand, so clear distinction towards the Rolex. Another one is the beveled edge in the sapphire crystal, which is not available on the Rolex, and the Reo is completely different compared to the Rolex. So both hands, dial and crystal are much different from the Rolex. So is the case shape. Here we have a pretty flat-sized case shape, while the Rolex Submariner have the bent down horns which bend around the wrist, and here we have a flat-shaped case, completely different to the Rolex. Of course, the black and blue bezel has a similarity to the Batman. However, the watch as a whole has a right in its own. It is not a copy. Of course, the color selection and the round indices have a similarity to the Batman, but the Steinhart Ocean 39 GMT Ceramic Plus Premium is a watch in its own, and I really do like it. Yeah, that's what I wanted to state. I hope you like this video. I hope you look forward to my next videos. Stay safe, and till then, cheers, Axel.